I sort of kind of think, had this been a Millwall football match, we would now be seeing headlines of disgusting, disgraceful behaviour. Are we soft-pedalling on what happened at Notting Hill for cultural reasons?
I'm not sure that we're soft-pedalling for cultural reasons, but I think what's not being discussed is the fact that Carnival takes place in the wrong place in Notting Hill. It takes place in a very dangerous place. It's a tragedy, of course it's a tragedy that somebody was stabbed to death. But the great fear, and it has been a great fear of the Metropolitan Police for several decades now, is that one day there will be a crush event.
Well,
one day we'll have a crowd.
Let me stop you for a moment and just show you these scenes of a huge crowd of people in a very, very narrow street. And there are police officers, and this has been filmed through a window, but just look at that crowd, and it's completely out of control. It's moving of itself. There are police caught up in it. You can see about a dozen police there in the foreground, people being pressed up against the railings. This, Stephen Roberts, is what you're talking about, isn't it?
That illustrates precisely what I'm talking about. That level of crowd packing, you really can't control. The officers there are doing their best to try and relieve the crowd pressure.
But they can't.
But they can't. If somebody falls over in that crowd, they're not likely to get up again. It's a tragedy that one person was killed, but we're looking at a situation where literally hundreds could be killed if you have a panic in a crowd. That starts to feed on itself. People fall, children fall, nobody can pick them up.
A Hillsborough type situation.
A Hillsborough, or indeed what happens not too frequently in Mecca, where you have huge uncontrolled crowds.
Yeah.
It's a very dangerous situation.
So the Carnival's held in the wrong place.
Yes.
Where do we put it?
Over the years, there have been suggestions it could take place in Hyde Park. Hyde Park is a nice open area where you actually could parade round the streets, where the bands, where the dancers could do exactly the same sort of things. There would have to be some changes to the regulations, there would have to be some changes to the law. But changing law and regulations is a far better route than waiting for a tragedy.